Hi, so this video we're going to look at the order of operations, which is really just a fancy way of saying what order we're going to do our sums in. So when we get a very big sum, how do we know what sum to do first? And when we think on this, we should be thinking of Bodmas. Oops, not Bobmas. Or Bob, or doesn't know how heavy he is. Bodmas. Now some people will call this Bomdas, which is fine. Some people also call it, a wee B in for that. It's not a very good B, is it? Some people call it Bidmas as well, or Bimdas. So there's lots of different, well, there's 4 different names for this, and they all mean the same thing. Okay, the B stands for brackets, so we do the brackets for an equation first. The O is our of or order, which is like the power. Okay, if you see the word of, we'll do the word of, but the power is also, if we've got like x to the 4, we would do that. The I means the same thing, but it's the word index, which just means the exact same thing. So some people call it the order, some people call it the index. So you see again, like x to the 4, whatever, that just means index. So that's the first reason why some people say bod mass, some people say, bid mass. So the I and the O sometimes change, even though it's the same thing. The other part you'll notice is that the D and the M are round the other way. And that's because it doesn't really matter what order we do those in. Okay? If I said to you, I'm going to do 4 times 5 divided by 4. Okay, you could say 4 times 5 is 20, divided by 4, that's going to give me 5. You could say that. But you could also have said, okay, well, 4 times 5 divided by 4, those two 4s cancel out, and I'm just left with 5. So you do the divide first. So that's why we sometimes have BIDMAS, BOMDAS. Okay? And it's the same again at the end with your adds and subtracts. Once you get all adds and subtracts, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. If you've got all multiply and divides, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. What we have to do is do our brackets first, make sure we do our orders, then we do multiply and divides, then we do add and subtracts. So pick one that you go for. I tend to go for BODMAS. That's what I got taught in school, but whatever one works for you, that's fine, as long as you know what they all mean. So let's try some little examples together then. Nice and easy to start us off. Let's go for 10 plus 7 times 2. So we're thinking to ourselves, odd mass. What do I do first? Well, there's no brackets. Okay. There's no orders. I've got a multiply and an add. So there's a multiply up here, and there's my add there. I probably should have drawn like an arrow. And we go from top to bottom. So the first thing I want to do is multiply, because it's here, and then I'll do the add. So what I do is I draw a little bracket around what I'm gonna draw. I redraw the 10 and the add because they've not changed, and the 7 times 2 becomes 14. And then I can do my add for 24. It's very important to keep everything in a row. Okay, make sure that nothing disappears. As the equations get bigger, it's very easy to drop something out, so keep it in a nice big row. Let's try question 2. Let's go for one. Let's go for 20, take away 12, plus 2, take away 10. So this is what I meant before. We don't have to do the adds then the subtracts. When it's just adds and subtracts, we can do it in any order we like if it makes it easy for ourselves. Same multiply and divide. If it's just multiply and divide, do it in any order that makes it easy for yourself. So let's have a look. I think it might be easy just to go from left to right in this case, actually. So 20 take away 12. This bit is going to give me 8. But then make sure you rewrite the rest of the sum down. 8 plus 2, that's going to give me 10. And 10 take away 10 for 0. So notice how I kept reducing the formula each time. Okay, this became this, and this stayed where it was. Okay, so take your time with the working on that. But if you wanted, if it was easier, you could have done this sum first. That's fine, but in this case, I thought it wasn't really very helpful. But when you've got all adds and subtracts, you don't have to just do it from left to right. You do the ones that you might find are a bit easier. Let's go for another one. Let's say 5 plus 12 divided by 2. I'm just going to write BODMAS over here actually, just so we've got it. So I've got a bracket, I've got a divide, and I've got an add. So I'm going to do the bracket first, and inside the bracket is the divide. So 5 plus, and inside the bracket, that's going to become 6. And my last line, 5 plus 6, will give me 11. Okay. Once you're inside the bracket, Bodmas would apply. So let's say I got something like, say it was 5 plus, and say it was 12 divided by 6 plus 2. Once I'm inside the bracket, I then have to do Bodmas in the bracket. So I'd have to do the divide first, and then the add subtract second. So for that one, it'd be 5 plus 12 divided by 6 is 2, so I get 2 plus the 2. Then I would do the 2 plus the 2 for 4, and then I would finish it off with 9. Don't forget your signs. Okay. So it's not too bad. There's a nice process, I think, going through this. It's nice and steady, isn't it? Once you remember Bodmas, you're just taking your time to go through each of the equations. Let's try something slightly tricky. Let's go for 3 plus, and we'll do 4 squared, take away 3 times 2. So this one, what we're going to do first here? Well, Bodmas, so I've got no brackets. I do have an order, so I've got this, I'll do that first. Then I've got a multiply, I'll do that second, and then I'll have my adds and subtracts, I'll do them third and fourth. So let's do the order first of all. 3 plus 4 squared, which is 16, because it's 4 times 4. And then I'm going to do a multiply. So that's going to be the 3 times the 2, that's for 6. And it doesn't matter what order I do this in. Like I said, I think it's actually easier to do this bit first, because I know that's going to give me 10. And then I'm left with 13. But just take your time to go through each step, break it down, show lots of work, and don't try and be a hero and do it all together. Okay? And slightly trickier one, let's finish off with something a wee bit tricky, will we? So let's go for, let's try this. Yeah, we'll try that one. So, what am I going to do first? Well, it's Bodmas. So I'm either going to do this first, or I'm going to do this first. Doesn't matter which. Okay? Might just do them at the same time, actually. So I think for the next line, I would say 5 plus 2 times 8 is 16. Take away 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So you could take your time and do them in 2 different steps. I'll just do them together, the multiply and the divides. The point is, you couldn't be doing this step or this step before the multiply and divides. And now it's all adds and subtracts. Let's do my add. So 16 plus 5 for 21. Take away the 3. That's going to give me 18. So get your brackets in to help you spot your equation. I could have done this one first or the other one first, doesn't matter. I've kind of done them both at the same time, really. Okay. And yeah, that's a decent amount of Bodmas. I want to see if I can think of a really tricky Bodmas question. Give me a second and we'll see if we can do this one together. Okay, have a look at this one, see what you think. Pause the video and we'll go through that one. Okay, so for this, I'd be thinking, okay, well, I don't have any brackets, so I won't do the brackets, but I will do my order first. Now, that's not totally wrong, but actually, when you see something like this, you should be thinking to yourself that this is in an invisible bracket, because I need to do this, and I need to do this separately, because this whole thing needs to divide by this bit. So I need to do this whole top line separate from the whole bottom line. So it's like we're going to do Bodmas on the top line, and then Bodmas on the second line. So on the top line, I'm going to get 7 plus 4 times, and the 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2. That's going to be 8. And on the bottom line, I'm just going to leave that just now. Yeah. So again, the top line, the bottom line, doing them separately. I'll then want to do a multiply. So I'll do 7 plus 32 divided by 10 plus 3. And then we'll do the adds. So 39 divided by 13. I've decided to kind of do them both in tandem. You could have just done the top line, just sorted that out, and then done the bottom line. The point is, you do the top line with Bodmas and the bottom line with Bodmas, because they're like inside an invisible bracket. And then 39 divided by 13, that's just going to give me 3. Okay. So that was a slightly trickier one. Yeah, Bodmas. Hope that was helpful.